Now, as more provinces move to reopen, there's something of a cautionary tale playing out in Saskatchewan, which announced its timeline last week. With the promise of loosening restrictions on the horizon, some people appear to be jumping the gun and breaking the rules that are still in place to keep people distant and safe. Bonnie Allen has that story.
As Saskatchewan gets ready to slowly reopen businesses starting next week, the rules for social gatherings remain unchanged. But according to pictures and some social media posts, it appears some people may be getting ahead of themselves. For example, a small-town diner encouraged people to cruise Main Street and pick up takeout this past weekend. The government says the event had more than 10 people and violated a public health order. On Saturday, a delivery man tweeted that he'd seen 5 gatherings over 10 people with no distancing, one dad taking the tape off a playground for his kids. A woman responds, "I yelled at a grandpa for pulling the tape off the play structure in our community." Another tweets that his neighborhood in Regina looked like party central on the weekend.
I did hear of one event that may have occurred this past weekend, and I would find that deeply disappointing on a number of levels.
It's leading to mixed messages for the public.
The official opposition says Premier Moe gave a confusing message last week when he said this.
Is it okay for close friends, family, or a neighbor to come over and maybe have a barbecue in your backyard? I think it is, if you practice good physical distancing.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be hard to rein people back in. I feel like there'll be people who will adhere to those restrictions with moderation, and I feel like there's going to be people who go really crazy.
This psychology professor says people will be less compliant if the message is confusing and constantly changing, and if people feel less afraid of the virus threat.
People say, well, those are not strict rules, those are just potentially suggestions. Yeah, they apply in general, but in this case, I know my neighbors so well, and so on and so forth.
So to be clear, the rules still prohibit gatherings of more than 10 people in Saskatchewan, and it's recommended that people restrict their socializing to just 2 or 3 other households with physical distancing. This couple plans to follow those rules when they host a barbecue for their kids and grandchildren next week.
Because we've been taking care and so have they. So we're not too concerned. We're actually really excited about it.
But the grandmother says she may break one rule.
I may hug them on my leg. Yeah, it's going to be hard. They're little.
Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Regina.